बलं ताभ्यां ततः स्वराट् पादौ च निरभिद्येतां गतिस्ताभ्यां ततो हरिः हस्तौ च निरभिद्येतां बलं ताभ्यां ततः स्वराट् पादौ च निरभिद्येतां गतिस्ताभ्यां ततो हरिः. Word to word translation. Hastau, the two hands, cha and nirabhidyetam were manifested, balam power, tabhyam from them, tataha thereafter, swarat Lord Indra, padav the 2 feet, cha and nirabhidyetam became manifested, gatihi the process of movement, tabhyam from them, tata then, Hare Lord Vishnu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thereafter, the 2 hands of the universal form of the Lord became manifested, and with them the power of grasping and dropping things. And after that, Lord Indra appeared. Next, the legs became manifested, and with them the process of movement. And after that, Lord Vishnu appeared. Purport. The deity presiding over the hands is Indra, and the presiding deity of movement is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Vishnu appeared on the appearance of the legs of the Virat Purusha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. आराध्य भगवान् व्रजेशतनय तद्धाम वृन्दावनम् रम्या काचीवुपासनावजगद वर्गेण वा कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमापुमातो महान् श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभुर्मतमिति वर्गेण वा कल्पिता तत्रादरानापरः. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be looking at the verse where universal form is being created. So when here, what are the important terminologies are Swarat. Usually we use this word Swarat for Supreme Lord. When we see Srimad Bhagavatam first sloka, Janmadhyasya yatonvayat Janmadhyasya yatonvayat atirtas svatesu abhigna swarat tene brahma hrudayadikavaye muhyanti yat surayah abhigna swarat. So when Srila Vyasadeva, when he was reciting Mangalacharna prayers, Janmadhyasya yatonvayat itaratas chabdeshva abhigna swarat. So he is glorifying the Supreme Lord as Swarat, independent. Then why it is used for Lord Indra, this Swarat, such a valuable word? potent word, Swarat. We'll see that one. And here, Harihi, Lord Vishnu, is also, we are saying that we know that universal form is temporary. It is only pertinent to the material world. Then how come Lord Vishnu is taking charge of the movements of this universal form? So these 2 points are we'll focus today. We will see clearly. And I would like to express my gratitude, express my humble obeisances to His Holiness Kadamba Kannan Swami Maharaj, because today whole lecture is taken from his lecture only. Fortunately, I could come across the his lecture of this particular verse totally. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to His Holiness. So today we'll be seeing how in this process of first creation of universal form, this is Sarga only, this whole chapter. When we see, last week also I mentioned that Atra Sarga Vishargascha Sthanam Poshanamutayah Manvantreshanukataha Nirodha Muktirashrayah. So this Atra Sarga Visargascha. So Sarga is the whole third canto. When we see first canto and second cantos are prelude, and third canto onwards, this Sarga starts. And fourth canto is Visarga, fifth canto is Poshana. Like that, it's gone. Whereas 10th canto is the Ashraya, supreme shelter. So we cannot directly jump to the shelter part. We have to, in order to take shelter of the some personality, we should notice, we should have, we should keep on observation. Even when we are choosing guru also, we cannot just directly go and ask, okay, can you please give us shelter? No, we have to follow the process, right? So in the same way, here, going through these aspects of Sarga and Visarga Sthana, everything is the particular process. Why? Because when we know the opulences and energies of the Supreme Lord, how beautifully they are created, how they beautifully they are manifested and unmanifested, then only we can have that. First, in the beginning, we can approach the Supreme Lord with awe and reverence, and then we can have develop our dormant love for Krishna. So this is the process. In this process of Sarga, the first creation, preliminary creation, we saw how everything, senses, sense objects, everything is generated by the interaction of modes of material nature with the false ego. Then now we are seeing that for all these to come into activate, to come into application of these, individual elements were created. Sound, earth, all 24 elements, individual, they got manifested. So we need certain atmosphere for the application of all these elements, right? So the a form, a imaginary form. Why it is called as imaginary form means we cannot perceive, our hands are manifested. You can see the hand, you can see the leg. Whereas with our mundane eyes also, it is very difficult to assume this universal form, because it is so vast. It is so gigantic. Can you imagine trees are like hairs of the Supreme Lord? Can you imagine for such a gigantic form, legs are there, and lower planetary systems are his legs, upper planetary system, middle planetary systems are like his waist. So it is difficult to imagine also, but we have to accept the scriptures, and this universal form is described as the imaginary, temporary, and after some time it will become unmanifested again. That's the reason it is a uh, universal form. It belongs to the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, it is not part of his eternal creation. Such a specific form is this universal form. We just need to try to understand. Okay. And in this universal form also, as human beings have hands, legs, head, hair, everything, even this universal form is there. Why? Because uh, it belongs to this material world. So it has everything, even though it will unmanifest after some time. It has everything. So the hands of, now in this verse, we are seeing that hands of that universal form are formed. Even a baby in the womb, when it is growing, initially only a small pea, a kidney shape pea like structure will be there. And afterwards, slowly all the limbs started coming out of that pea. In the same way, a Mahat Tattva is there, and from Mahat Tattva, this Prakriti is started forming. This Prakriti creation, part of it is this universal form. So it is starting expanding its limbs. So slowly the limbs are forming one by one. Now, when we are seeing in this particular verse, hands are formed and then legs are formed. Uh, uh, when For each limb, because it is gigantic, there are so many living entities are residing in every part of that limb of universal form. So whenever there are living entities, they need a leader, they need a ruler, they need a controller. Otherwise, how it will be organized, how the activities of in that particular limb will be performed. So for that reason, Lord Indra was kept in charge of these hands. So, and for the legs, Lord Vishnu is taking in charge. We will see why is it. So, when we see Lord Indra is controlling the living entities, what are the activities of these hands? Grasping the things and dropping the things. So, if we want to take some things, if we want to get something, we need our hands. If we need to drop, or if we want to keep, if we want to eat something, if we want to handle something, if we want to work something, for everything hands are needed, right? So in the same way for universal form. So when we are using these hands to lord over material nature, ishvaroham aham bhogi. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that I am the living entity. Out of puffness, he thinks that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. So he uses his hands for the sense enjoyment, sense gratification. So Indra is not only the controller of those hands, but also serves the Supreme Lord. That's the reason Indra is glorified so much. Actually, from our scriptures point of view, from in our ISKCON society, we don't glorify so much. But if you see Karma Kandiya scriptures or some Puranas, they are glorifying Indra seriously so much. Indra is not an ordinary living entity. He is just so much empowered personality. And here he is very fortunate. Indra is so fortunate. Why? Because the another reason that these scriptures are glorifying Indra is Supreme Lord himself came as his younger brother. So when Supreme Lord came as Vamana, as his younger brother, Indra personally served him with 16 items, and sometimes he served with 64 items. So always whenever Lord, after receiving the worship from Indra, whenever he leaves to his abode, Indra also used to follow him. And only when Lord enters into his abode, Indra cannot enter, he'll come back to his abode, but he faithfully serves the Supreme Lord. In this way, Indra is helping in ruling the universe and also in worshipping the Supreme Lord. That how he got such a benediction, how he became so fortunate means Indra is considered as a extremely pious person. He uses his senses perfectly. there is one nice pastime in Brihad Bhagavatamrita written by His Holiness Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, he gave lot of details very wonderfully in this Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There, one time, Narada Muni, Sri Narada Muni is trying to know who is the recipient of mercy of the Lord more and more, who is the greatest recipient. He wants to know. So he started doing research. First, he identified a Brahmana and he approached him because Brahmanas are very dear to the Supreme Lord, and this particular Brahmana is very much dedicated, always engaged in the devotional services, in the Lord's activities. So when he went and asked Brahmana, when he started worshipping, and he expressed, I want to know who is the greatest recipient of mercy of the Lord. Then the Brahmana is so humble, he said that, of course, you are thinking that I am worshipping the Supreme Lord all the time, but I am worshipping for myself. I am not doing much benefit for others. But if you go to this particular king in South India, he is a wonderful king. He is a devotee king. Not only he is engaged in the worship of the Supreme Lord himself, he is engaging all his kingdom. He is making all his kingdom worship the Supreme Lord. He is much greater than me. If you approach him, you can solve your purpose. Then Narada Muni, he was so grateful to that Brahmana. He offered obeisances and he went to the king. And then king said that, see, I am very happy. I am very much grateful for your arrival, for your mercy upon us. But as you are thinking that I am not the greatest king, I am not the greatest recipient of the mercy of the Lord, because we are the kings, we are the Kshatriya kings. While we are ruling the kingdom, we have to make so many faults. We are so much limited. We cannot do anything perfectly. So, hopefully, I am not the person whom you are looking. I am not greatest recipient. But if you approach the demigods the one who are really empowered, who are really worshipable. So you please go and uh, look for them, who are the greatest recipients of the Lord. Then King Narada Muni came to Indra. So he started glorifying Indra. Then Indra said that though we may be worshipping the Supreme Lord, see, Indra directly, he is not receiving all the glorifications of Narada Muni just as it is, straightforward. Based on the scriptures, based on the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, I'm trying to explain in the view of Srila Sanatana Goswami about the glories of Indra also. Indra is not that completely bad. There is some bright part of Indra also. So I'm trying to explain that. So here Indra is saying that yes, we are worshipping the Supreme Lord, as you heard, but there are so many desires in our heart, so many materialistic desires. We are getting benefits from the Lord. We are protected many times from the demons with the mercy of the Lord. In this way, we got mercy, but there is our sense gratification. Our worship is not pure, it is not out of love. So he is admitting that his worship is not that pure. So, but Narada Muni was very much pleased with his honesty, with his truthfulness. So he started glorifying. Actually, he's saying that whatever demigods worship is not out of love, spontaneity towards the Supreme Lord, but for the loving their results, for the fruitive results of those worship, they are worshipping the Supreme Lord. So, in this way, we can perceive how Lord Indra is granted to control over many aspects in the universe. So, Supreme Lord personally accepts the Indra's worship and these demigods' worship And Supreme Lord appointed Indra as the agent to control many aspects in this universe, because this universe is an arrangement for the living beings to become bewildered. So their desire is, the living entity's desire is, we learned that, right? What is the reason for this? Prime reason for the creation of this material world is to facilitate for the enjoyment of the living entities. So how the living entities can enjoy? They should be kept under illusion. Otherwise, it is not possible for them to enjoy, because their constitutional position is to serve the Supreme Lord. So, when they want to fulfill their desire of enjoyment, they should be given a suitable atmosphere for their illusion, for their bewilderment. Then only they can think that I am the Lord. Want to enjoy. I can enjoy. I want to enjoy. So, for this, there is an arrangement required. For that reason, Supreme Lord appoints these powerful, empowered living entities like Indra. So, they will take charge of these universal affairs. And in this way, Lord Brahma has created this universe to create so many influences, influence of nescience, influence of forgetfulness, so that living entities will be kept under illusion. And there are, therefore, he created, but after Brahma created this whole universe for illusion, he started feeling guilty. What I am doing? I am making the living entities forget their service to the Supreme Lord. What kind of job I am doing? When he was so much feeling guilty, that's the reason he created four process of gaining knowledge also. That's the reason these demigods are not that bad. Even though they are doing their duty, they feel to do some benefit for the living entities. Otherwise, he does his job is Brahma's job is to create an atmosphere for the illusion of the living entities. He can just, okay, I am done. My job is done. I did what I'm supposed to do. He can leave like that. But no, these demigods are so compassionate. Brahmaji, when we are seeing, he was feeling guilty. He wants to be compassion. He was compassionate of the living beings. So he created four processes to gain knowledge also. In that way, they can come out of this their ignorance. So when he created four processes of gaining knowledge, he put four Kumaras as in charge of those knowledge. For example, when we see Sankhya Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, all these are a gradual process of gaining knowledge so that they can attain the level of bhakti and they can serve the Supreme Lord. Over a period of time, they'll realize, they'll be disgusted with this material world, and they come to their senses and they can worship the Supreme Lord. So these demigods are always cognizant of that fact, to bring the souls back to Godhead. They are our worship. They are not worshipable, but they are so much respectable because they are helping us to go towards Krishna. Okay. Whoever is pious, actually, when these universal these planetary systems are created, they were created according to their inclination towards the sex. If you see, the topmost planets are Brahmaloka, Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. That loka is particularly meant for the sannyasis. And when we come down little, that is the Tapoloka. When we see, all are there brahmacharis. And when we come little down, Janaloka. Janaloka, where there are so many great sages who are totally occupied with so many austerities to benedict the universe with transcendental knowledge. So, and then coming down Maharloka, where Prajapatis reside, who are constantly engaged in austerities to produce proper living entities, proper offsprings, means to generate, to procreate proper offsprings. So, these are all, whoever is in the upper planetary systems, they are all called as great denizens, respectable demigods. They are all uh, uh, very highly elevated. They don't have sense gratifying desires. So, in that way, also, they are all worshipable. And coming down only when we see heavenly planets where demigods are involved in so much enjoyment, even though they are having so much of sense enjoyment, they follow the scriptures, or they follow the injunctions of the Shastras, any activity. When we come down to the middle planetary systems only, the problem starts arising because of predominance of mode of passion. So when and that's the because of that passion, there is a lot of inner resistance to the Shastras. We are not able to follow the Shastras. We are not able to accept them because of the lethargy, laziness, because of this, even the influence of mode of goodness is trying to come, this reluctance is there and it is pushing away. We are not able to understand, accept the scriptures. But when we can overcome this mode of passion, and we can rise above, even we can be elevated to the higher levels, elevated consciousness. When we see these lower species of life, illicit sex life, too much is there. So we should be always cautious not to downgrade ourselves, always elevate ourselves in our consciousness. Then we can understand all these aspects of this creation, why this creation is there, how demigods are trying to help us. Otherwise, we cannot understand. Okay, here Narada Muni is glorifying Indra. So we see Indra as an offender or as a cheater. Why? Because there are certain pastimes we come across. Indra stealing the horse when Prithu Maharaj is doing the sacrifice, like that. So, but when we see Govardhan Hill pastime, even though so much Indra did, Krishna has forgotten him. So when Krishna himself is forgotten him, we can also no need to disrespect, whereas we can offer our respects and take the mercy. And when we see the next part, the feet of the movement is taken in charge of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is, if you see every moment, when we even our blink our eyes, when we step forward, when we move our hands, when we breathe, everywhere movement is there. So whole movement is in charge by taken in charge by Lord Vishnu, because Brahma created the universe, Shiva is destroying the universe, but the maintainer is Lord Vishnu. So that Lord Vishnu, because it requires lot of energy, lot of expertise, so that's the reason Vishnu is also has to take role in this universal activities of the universal form. So Vishnu is the maintainer of all of us. So every moment, if you can remember the opulences of the Supreme Lord, in that way also every moment we can be grateful to Lord Vishnu, we can meditate on Lord Vishnu, because the whole universe will be frozen if there is no if there is no part of Vishnu is there. So every moment, if we be grateful, we can be grateful, we can think of Vishnu, we can show our gratitude. In that way, we can be conscious of Vishnu. So Srimad Bhagavatam is bringing us back to look at the universe even in a personal way, not theoretical way or not philosophical way, to come out of our sufferings, to come out of our nascence, illusion, through this meditational process. how Vishnu is helping us each and every moment, not only externally, internally. Our 5 types of air, 10 kinds of air, everything. We know that soul is floating in those 5 kinds of air. And when we are seeing the chakras, all the chakras, when at the time of yogis, when they want to leave their bodies through the Brahmarandra, they will push through these airs only the soul and release their soul from the top of this Brahmarandra. So everywhere this motion is very important within ourselves and externally and internally. So we should be cognizant of how Vishnu is helping us. Hmm? So in that way, even when we are chanting, if we want to chant, if we want to meditate, you see pranayama or any process of Ashtanga Yoga, anything, Hatha Yoga, anything, we need the mercy of Lord Vishnu. In that way, we can meditate upon him all the time. With this, I will conclude.
Thank you, Mataji. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. A little bit of snow outside. So if you're driving, be careful. We would like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Narsingo, Jai Narsingo, Jai Narsingo, Pralakesha, Jaya Padmam, Kapadnam Lingam.
Ugram
Gravira Mahavisham,
Sarvatam Sarvatam
Narsingham, Krishna,
Vaishnava
Narsinga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad
Jai.
Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas, one Chakalpatari,
Upasindavarya Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Vaishnavrind ki Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
everybody.
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.